You all set to go? Alrighty. Well, everyone, hello. Good to see you all. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Taylor. It's good to see you today. This is our second week. Of talking about like atomic, what it means to be atomic. Does anyone off the top of your head remember what we were learning about last week with atomic? No, not sure. Sorry, what?
Atoms and elements.
Something about atoms and elements. Yeah. What else?
You know what, Taylor?
Nobody? No, we were talking about like the smallest unit of things and kind of how we use those smallest units to build on top of other things. That people are like, oh, yeah, with the habits, right? All right, if you did not remember that, make sure you go back and watch from last week. It should be posted, I'm sure. But this week we are working on week 2, starting week 2 of what's our series, which is called Atomic. Now, I'm a science teacher, so when I heard about Atomic and heard that it was a series, I was like all nerded out. I was super excited. However, I will tell you, not all of the experiments you're about to see are going to work properly. This one, for example, is called an electric kettle. I saw this out in, when Shelby and I visited my extended family out in Great Britain, and they had this, it's like an instant boiler, boils water, really fun. Now, the thing is I'm going to kind of use this as an illustration. I got is the coldest material I could think of, which was ice, right? Your snow, naturally occurring snow outside. And the reason why is because one of the main things we're going to talk about is like more or less the pressures of life, right? Raise your hand if you deal with some pressures in your life. Yeah, okay, we're going to talk about some of your examples, and my hope is to illustrate what that looks like when all those pressures come crashing down on you. Again, I'm going to try and do this safely, as this might get ugly, but we'll see. And if it does not work, I promise I have a backup. So, on a count of 3, tell me what it is that I'm holding. 1, 2, 3.
Soda can.
It's just a can. Soda can. I don't think there's anything in it. Yeah, nothing in it, I promise. Lifting up the sleeve, you know, that kind of thing. But I am going to fill it with boiling water.
Do you need help?
Stay. No, I am perfectly capable.
Watch it tip over. It's gonna tip over.
So, does anyone know what happens at 100 degrees Celsius to water? Specifically, all you chemistry people. No one knows?
Doesn't it turn into a
It boils, yes, it turns into a vapor. And if I do this correctly, which I might not, but we'll see, there should be some steam trapped in the container. And again, if I do it correctly, we should get a dramatic effect. Woo! Oh, that's not as dramatic as I wanted. Slowly and surely, the walls of the can are crushing it. Again, that was supposed to be much more dramatic. So instead, I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. I'll pull this out in a little bit. We're going to watch it kind of, oh my gosh, it's like melting everything else around it. Fun. Stay. But if you've ever been in life before, a lot of the time what happens is things kind of like cave in on you little bit by little bit by little bit until eventually, right? That happens to you, right? If you let the pressures keep caving in, and again, that's going to be much more dramatic, I'm sure, in a little bit. But you get crushed by life around you. Anyone feel like crushing this even more? If you can? No? No one wants to take out their exertion? Of course, Faith Ann wants to. Come on. Come on, Faith Ann, stomp it down. Stomp it down, nice and good. Perfect! Awesome! Love it. All right. So I want you to think about like all those pressures in your life, whether it be like peer pressure or like pressure you feel from having to do sports or certain clubs or activities, like maybe it's boyfriend-girlfriend pressure. Like all those pressures are constantly caving in on you. How do you withstand all that pressure? Right, and I wanted to give another illustration, and I think I need to remove my snow in order to do it. Okay, see, it kind of worked. Again, not as dramatic as I was hoping to. Normally I have to have like a hot plate. All right, let's go. Come on, get out. Excuse me, please. Okay, we're good now. And what I want you to think about also is when we think about matter, when we think about things that are made of atoms and things like that, particles themselves are fairly close together if they don't have a ton of energy. They kind of like withdraw on themselves. Excuse me.
Oh. You splash it everywhere.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's water.
No, it's not.
It just might be some cold water, but it is water. And so I want you to think for a second about this being like the amount of energy you have in a day. Right? Can you imagine this with me for a second? So let's think about what are some things that drain on you in terms of your energy. I'll go think for about 15 seconds. I'll go around each person in the room. But think about what is one thing that kind of drains your energy as time goes on. You ready? Think about it. I'll give you about 5 more seconds to think. What's one thing that drains your energy over the course of a day? All right, Jalissa, you start. School. If you want to be more specific with school, then you can. All right, Brittany, what you got? Sports. I think I feel a little bit physically drained after doing an athletic event. Yes, that is fair. Amelia, what else? Math specifically. All right, got it. Cool. What else, Jeremy?
Students.
Students! Never!
Yes.
Bradley.
Science. I'm joking. Like doing
My heart. Emily.
lawn care.
Math test. Or preparing for a test in general. Yeah, that could cause a little bit. Faith Ann, what else?
Waking up early.
Oh, yeah. Oh, waking up. Ooh, I'm kind of running out of energy here. What else?
College application.
Oh, gosh. That fast fun. I'm giving you another one for college application. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. What else?
Missing the bus.
No! Not missing the bus! So, short story. When I was in, I'm coming right to you, don't you worry. When I was in middle school, my mom had to carpool, right? And there's one time I did not actually have myself ready to go out the door. My mom left me at home, and I was traumatized. I called her friends for someone to come and drive me to school. Emotionally traumatized. What else, Diane?
Difficult people.
Difficult people?
Oh.
What difficult people are you thinking about? Anything else, Jacob?
I was going to say work, but I'm wondering, she works from home.
Work counts. And Jordan?
Driving.
Driving in general, yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, you're
So that's a decent amount of energy that's been spent during the day. And I don't know if you remember where we started out, but that's like a quarter of the energy I've left. Can you kind of see where I'm going with this? All right, the only reason I bring this up is because at the end of a long day, you're left with about that much of the energy that you had before, roughly speaking, right? And when you have to go about doing normal activities, or whatever it might be when you're home, do you feel like giving a lot of extra energy to all those people who are closest to you and love you very much? Not really. You're not feeling super enthused about anything. In fact, you're probably feeling like your tank is pretty close to being empty. Right? Raise your hand if you've been like that before. You're just like, at the end of one of those long days, all right, cool, that's everyone. At the end of those long days, you're just like, I'm just about at the end of my rope! And you explode on them, right? You panic on them. You kind of see how I'm getting at? So, the point is that you will come into lots of situations and scenarios where you're going to feel drained, where you're going to feel, where's my crush can? Faith Ann?
over there.
Did I put it somewhere? Oh, there it is. But you're going to feel like this. And the question is, if you started like this, and you end up like this, how do you hold on to this for as long as possible? Right? What are ways that, maybe you could be filling up other people's cups? How can you fill up other people or prevent them from being crushed? Alright, so that's kind of where we're headed today, as we're thinking about this. I've got lots of other things and tools and demonstrations we'll see along the way, but for now, I want to give you a scenario. So again, thank you for kind of repositioning yourself so that you're close to some people, because I want to give you some scenarios. Yeah, being crushed, got it. We'll come back to that question in a little bit. So here are, I think, 4 scenarios. I think we're only going to end up with 3 groups, and that's okay. So let's have Kenzie and Josh a little bit. You 2 are going to talk. We'll have you 3 talk a little bit, and you 3 talk a little bit. We'll do scenario 1. That's Kenzie and Josh. You're running late somewhere. Someone is texting you. You know you want a quick answer, but you're busy. What do? We'll come back and hear from you folks. You 3. You're having a hard time. Do you ask someone for help or spend time alone? That's you 3. You kind of vote amongst yourselves what you would do. And then this group, something really painful just happened. A family member asks how you're doing. How do you respond? Okay? And then the last one, we can kind of also share out. A friend hurts or betrays you one day, but sends a friendly text the next day. What do you do? Right? Those are all scenarios, and I think people are going like, ooh, I've been there. I've had that.
Yes.
All right? So I'll give you 1 minute to turn and talk with your neighbors. Pick a spokesperson, whoever it might be. And 3, 2, 1, go.
No.
Good, turn clock. What do you do for your scenario? Kenzie, Josh, turn clock. Here we go. What do you do? Jacob, if you want to group with them, if you want to, you don't have to. Running late. Know you want to put cans back, but you're busy. Having a hard time. Do you ask someone for help or spend time alone? Something painful just happened. How do you respond? Friend hurts or betrays you.
I'll be the speaker since
Okay. Okay.
but I'll be stuttering a lot.
20 more seconds.
Wait, Taylor, can I help you in your next project?
My next project. No, I'll be okay. Thank you for asking.
Please?
No.
No.
I don't want to listen to this one anymore.
Shut up.
Let's do to each other. Thank you very much.
See?
This is not school. You don't just spout out whatever rude thing comes to your head. All right, thank you, folks. Wave at me, spokespeople, so I know who you are. Who's the spokesperson? All right, just making sure. Josh, you're running late. Someone's texting you. You want to get right back to them. What did you decide that you would do?
I just tell them can't talk right now.
Okay, talk right now. I'll get back to you later. Cool, that's fine. Kind of diffuses it temporarily so you can deal with it later. Good. How about this group? Emily?
I said like I would like if I need help I would ask for help, like I'll figure it out. Like it depends on the situation. Like if I'm struggling with something, and like I need their input, then I'll ask for help. But if I don't need their input, like I'll like have time alone, think about it, and figure out myself.
I kind of have to work through it myself, kind of thing. Okay, all right. So it depends on the scenario. I like that. Last one. Something really painful just happened. Family member asks how you're doing. How do you respond?
Well, you were saying it like depends on the situation again and like the person, but you kind of just said like we tell them we're doing fine anyways, and they'll just figure it out.
You would just bottle it up and internalize it?
Well, yeah, it depends. I don't know, depending on who it is.
Okay. Now I'm curious to know, who would it take for you to actually open up and talk to them?
My best friend.
You know, like I tell them everything.
Okay. Okay. So it can't be just like a random person who's just dropped into your life and said, I want to learn about you. Like, is there like a certain amount of time you feel like you should have known the person before you can share that kind of information? I'm just curious.
I mean, I don't know like a certain amount of time, but like someone I probably talk to like every day.
Okay. All right. I like that. If you're confused as to where we're going, there's a reason I'm asking these questions, because I think it's fair to say that we don't respond the same way for every single person, right? We don't just spout off our deepest, darkest secrets, because then that comes around and bites us in the butt. This person tells that person, that, and then it comes back to me that, oh wow, I just should not have shared that with that person, right? You gotta have relationships that are able to, you're able to invest in them, and they're able to invest in you and kind of pour into you. You just don't tell everyone, dude, I'm struggling in math class. Dude, I'm struggling with this relationship that I'm having with another friend or a person who's just a really negative. You guys, you have to build those relationships before you can actually work those through those things together. So there's a reason, again, that we talk about these, but I do want to kind of move to another spot, and that is in Scripture. There's a moment that Jesus is talking to his disciples, and it's kind of like I kind of think of like I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing. It's kind of what he's saying, but he talks about it in a more like personal way. He says, as the Father loved me, I also have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you'll abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no other than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. What's the word we keep seeing over and over and over again? On a count of 3, if you know what I'm kind of looking for, say it. Ready? Go. Take a look. You don't remember? All right. What's the word we keep seeing over and over again? 1, 2, 3?
Love.
Yeah, it's not a trick question. It's love. Right? Love over and over again. Dumb question. If you love someone, do they love you back? Ooh, not necessarily. I mean that there are people in your life who are just energy and joy and life suckers along the way.
I mean, there's probably people.
There's probably some people. There's probably some people who are out there, right? So what's really tricky is you kind of have to decide which relationships to invest in, which ones not to, right? If Jalissa's just dragging on me, day after day after, I'm just picking on July, day after day after day, I might feel tempted to be like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Talk to the hand, I'm going away. Right? That kind of thing. So we really kind of have to choose not only the relationships that we enjoy, but maybe Jalissa actually needs a lot of love. And I've got to figure out how to crack through that shell and get to her. Like that kind of thing. You kind of see where I'm getting at still? Okay, some of this is not very intuitive, meaning that it's something that you readily think of. I feel like there's one more section I might be wrong. Going back. Come on, cute little clicker, you can do it. Okay, now I'm going to stay with this one for a bit. The last thing I thought was really interesting. Greater love has no one than to lay down one's life for his or her friends. I don't think any one of us has laid down our lives for our friends, except for maybe Jeremy, for example, who when I started writing, that kind of thing. But I don't think we've gotten into that scenario very often where we lay down our lives. But raise your hand if you've been in a relationship where you gave up something significant for the benefit of the other person. Like you took on some pain, or you took on some work, or you did something that cost you something to maintain that relationship. Not so much? It's okay, I'm just curious. Just totally curious about that. The point is that, my wife and I have been married for 6 years now, and counting, very exciting. But the thing is that there are certain times that I don't really feel like giving, or I don't really feel like doing certain things, and I choose to love her over me loving myself. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that for these relationships. I do want to read one more thing for you, and that is from Ecclesiastes 4:19-13. I promise I had a better visual. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of packing my house, and I packed it away and forgot about it, so I'm sorry. But at our wedding, we had a verse, and I'm going to read part of it, that was kind of talking about this. But if I was to ask you how hard it would be to cut through this strand of rope, how hard do you think it is? Not terribly hard, right? So the reason I'm doing this, I'm going to show you a little bit, is I want to show the difference between having those friends and relationships. Ecclesiastes 4:9-13 says, 2 are better than, everyone say the next word? 1. Because they have good reward for their labor. For if they fall, what's that next word? 1 will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is, what's that word? Alone. Boy, I think that we talked about some aloneness, right? Again, if 2 lie down together, so no one to help them. If 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can 1 be warm? What's that next word again? Alone. Though, what's that word again? 1 may be overpowered by another, 2 can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So the reason why I keep bringing this up is because at our wedding, my wife and I, together, wove a braid. Now, I am not the best braider in the world. I'm not. If someone wants to pick up where I left off and keep going, you can. All right, Faith Ann, come get it. No, never mind. You crushed the can. Never mind. You keep braiding. But the point is that cord is not as easy to cut on its own, or it's compared to one that's on its own, right? Still with me? So for our wedding, we did a little cute little braided thing, and it had that last little verse. 2 can withstand, a threefold cord is not quickly broken, right? There is a reason that we ask you as parents and adults to make friends. There is a reason. At some point, you might need them, right? And that requires some relationship building along the way. We're going to talk about how that relationship is going. So, specifically, 2 benefits is that you have support, number 1, and you have a defense, right? I need some volunteers really quick to be a tripod for me. You 3 ladies, would you be so kind as to help us with the demonstration? Here's what I want to happen. You guys stand up, but here's how I want this to work. You guys are all going to sit back to back. You stand back to back. Oh, sorry. You need to move to the middle. Right, demonstrations, of course. Hold on. Come on over. Back to back, right here. Back to back. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to have Bradley. You come on up. Back to back, so that all of you backs. There you go. Yep. Perfect. All right. Come on, Bradley. Now, Bradley, you can only push on the shoulders, only. And I don't want you to be like Hulk smash on this, okay? But I do want the ladies to kind of Keep pushing on each other, but put your feet back, like farther away, just a little. Yep, you got it. So you're kind of pushing on each other. Yep, keep going. Amelia, I think has to go a little bit more. All right, perfect. All right, Bradley, again, you may only push on the shoulders. All right, good. Yep, pushing back. Pick another spot, Bradley. Push again. Oh boy, some people are not leaning in enough. There we go. All right, excellent. Now we're going to disperse except for Amelia. All right, come on back, except for Amelia. Amelia has to stand there. All right, turn around, Amelia. All right, Bradley. Push Amelia on the shoulder. Okay, that looked a little, all right, that was a little violent, but it's all right, thank you, going back to your seats. I know it's like, Brett, come here. I see him trying to stand up here. He's like, can I be the assistant scientist? I know it's dorky. That is a dorky illustration, but the reason I do that, it's real feisty today. The reason I do that is to kind of have a corny demonstration of what it means to be a tripod. Have you guys heard of tripods before? Yeah, okay. This is kind of a tripod, but not quite like the stand that's there. But the reason you have 3 legs instead of 1, right, is for that support. Right? The reason why, and thank you ladies again for joining us just now, but the reason why you put that pressure and kind of lean against each other is because you're stronger that way. Right? If Amelia's all by herself, Bradley comes over and like kind of pushes her right over, right? There's not as much resistance. So again, that's an illustration for how we have that support when we have other people to lean on. Again, silly question, is anyone just going to lean up against you? No, these 3 ladies had a little bit of trust, right, between each other in order to kind of stay up. The point we're getting down for today is make a habit to invest in your relationships around you. Make a point to invest in relationships that are around you. So, how do you do that? Like, I want you to think about those really close relationships. I don't mean to like dig up old feelings or whatever, but I'm thinking about like if you've had boyfriends or girlfriends, or you've had really good best friends or things like that. In order to grow those relationships, there was some sort of effort involved, right? Now, try if you agree with that. There had to be some sort of effort. And the 3 ways we kind of boil this all down, is you got to invest time, you got to invest communication, and you got to, you got to invest some work, right? Now, I'm not going to have you vote in like whatever, but like we'll start with the idea of romantic relationships, and then familial, and then friends, and then new relationships. We'll start with that first. All right, raise your hand. Jeremy, cover your face. Raise your hand if you have been, raise your hand if you have been in some sort of romantic relationship in the past. I'm not calling on you. Wave at me if you have. You've been in some sort of romantic relationship. All right, put your hands back down. All right, Jeremy, you can look now. The only reason I asked this, just to be goofy, but like, nod your head if you're with me. When you first met with that person, you got all the cute little butterfly feelings, right? And then after a while, you wanted to spend more time with them. Nod your head if you're like, yeah, that sounds like, yeah, I want to spend a little more time with them. Okay. Nod your head if you found yourself more and more so gravitating towards your phone, so you could text them a little more, a little more, a little more.
Stalker.
And then you're like waiting for the text to come back, like, why are they texting me? You know, like that kind of thing, right? Right? Don't you agree that if you want to build that relationship, you got to have a little more communication, right? And then after a while, you're like talking with them on the phone, you know, for a minute at a time at first, and then at 9 o'clock at night, and you're suddenly on the phone for, I see lots of people smirking and not looking at me, and then it's like 2 hours later, you're still talking to them.
And you only said 3 words.
And yeah. Right, yeah. No, you do it, right? But in terms of romantic relationships, and then, all right, I'm going to speak to the boys just for a minute. Just for a hot minute. Because, yeah. Because if you're like Taylor, at some point of the 2-hour mark, you were like, all right, I'm just in for the long game now, guys. I'm just like, you know, holding out, waiting for her to end the conversation, you know, whatever. Like, it takes some work to stay in the conversation because you're like, it's been 2 hours. You know, it's like, or if you're, you know, giving gifts to that person, right? It takes some work to prepare those gifts and to give it to them. Or if you're thinking about like, oh, it's our 1 year anniversary, or it's our 1 month anniversary. It takes some work to think about planning fun little events. Imagine if I'm on par so far. This sounds like, yes, I need to invest time, communication, and work. All right, that's most of you. Others of you are like, I'm pleading the fifth. I'm not at all contributing anymore. All right, how about familial relationships? Right, here's a safe one, safe conversation part. Like, can we all agree that you spend a lot of time with your family? Can we agree on that? Yeah, lots of time. Can we agree that of the people you talk to, family's right up there at the top? Lots of communication. Can we agree that there are some times that you get on each other's nerves and it takes work to continue loving them? Yes, you're like, I want to, but I'm choosing not to, right? Yeah, you got people pointing at each other. It's great. Yeah. It takes some work. So I want you to think for a second about those relationships, about those friends, about those other new relationships. Just out of curiosity, raise your hand if this is you. Have you ever met a friend and stayed close to a friend who you thought at first you were not going to like? Raise your hand if you've had that before. All right, cool. That's about a little bit more than half of us. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? This person who you thought at one time you would write off because they're so different, there's no way you're going to like them, after a while they grew on you. Right? Now, question. Did that just happen on its own? That you ended up being best friends after a long time? No. I got people shaking their head. No! It took work. Right? It took time. It took communication. The same is true for even people who need those relationships. Oh, sorry. Too soon. Don't want to go there quite yet. The last point I want to park on for this is that taking time, communication, work. Is this also true with your relationship with God? Yeah. Yeah, if you want to get really close to God, right, it takes a little bit of time. It takes a lot of communication. And sometimes it feels like it takes some work. I don't know if anyone's been kind of doing the daily devotionals or whatever like that, but there was one that really jumped out to me. I think it was day 4 or 5. That was about, do you see prayer as an obligation, meaning that you have to do it, or an opportunity? And I'm going to be honest, because we're in church, I'm being vulnerable for a minute. Sometimes I feel like praying, like sitting down and getting quiet and whatever, that's not a natural phase for me. I feel like that's work. Like I have to do it. Like I'm obligated to pray, right? And what's crazy is, as soon as I sit down and actually start doing it, it turns into an opportunity. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that was one thing during the weekly devotional. Again, if you haven't plugged in and you want to try that out, you're more than welcome to. But that was one thing that stood out to me. I also want to, last thing I promise on this, there are some people in your life who are really hard to love. They're really hard to make relationships with. One day, it might be one of those really close friends, or one of those family ties, or maybe that boyfriend or girlfriend that you're just like, I don't think this is going to work. That's going to be hard. It's going to take some investment. What are you going to do? Right? There are some people who you kind of think of as like an opportunity, right? Here's a person who I see, I'm thinking of Jeremy, some people who have shared with me, who I see them every day at the same time, and we have the same interaction over and over. Raise your hand if that's you. You have a friend or someone you interact with at the same time every day, doing the same thing over and over again. All right, put your hands down. That is a great opportunity to go deeper. A great opportunity. It might be learning their name first, and then asking about their family, then asking what they do for fun, things like that. Like, there are opportunities all around you, and you get to pick and choose who to invest those relationships in. So last week, Jeremy talked to us about building what are called habits or spiritual habits. So I'm going back to another demonstration. Again, I had a whole container and package of jumbo Legos because I bought them for Levi, and then I packed them. And guess what? They're still in the box. Yay, moving. So I had to go pillage some from the kindergarten preschool room over at the, don't tell Miss Lynn, by the way. Not that she, anyways, and those people who work in the nursery who are like, yeah. But I want you to think of building these habits like we build Legos, right? Raise your hand, wave at me, all you Lego fans, all you Lego builders at one time. Okay, not everyone, that's fine. Oh, wow, that's surprising. That's good. No judgment, no judgment. But this is like, the way we build habits is like the way we build Legos, right? It doesn't just come into something all at one time. You do it bit by bit. Raise your hand if you can tell me, if anyone knows this fun fact, how long does it take to build a habit?
Oh, isn't it like 30 days or something?
It's a good guess. Raise your hand if it gets more than 1 or 2 days to build a habit. It takes more than 1 or 2 days to build a habit. Okay, keep your hand raised if you think it takes more than a week to build a habit. Raise your hand if it takes more than 10 days. That's a week and a half. More than 2 weeks to build a habit. More than 3 weeks to build a habit. All right, raise your hand if you think it takes more than a month to build a habit. Ooh, not so many people on that one. Okay, all right. And raise your hand if you think it takes more than a year to build a habit. Okay, scientists found out, and I learned this in high school, that it takes 3 weeks to build a habit. 3 weeks of dedicated investment in something. I'm going to spend 3 weeks learning how to do a Rubik's Cube. Corinne can tell you it took me at least 4, specifically to build that habit. It could take even 3 weeks to build not so great habits, like picking your nails or picking your nose. I will not look at anyone in particular, but like building habits can take 3 weeks. If you do it for 3 weeks, it gets stuck there, right? And it becomes a part of you, and then you can't undo it, right? So how do you build spiritual habits? Well, you've got to be investing in something and probably continuing it, right? And that's why it takes so long to build a new habit or a new skill, because it takes that 3 weeks of like nailing it in over and over again. So here's what I want to start you with. This is the thing that Jeremy brought up last week, and I'm just bringing it up again. This is kind of like a, before I do something, I'm going to do something. First, I'll do something else, right? And I wanted you to think of ones that are attainable. Before I get on the bus today, I want to make sure I pray for my bus driver. Right? That's one that's kind of like a natural deadline. Before I see my teacher, I'm going to pray for my teacher. Before I see my friend, I'm going to ask and see how they're doing. Right? Those kind of things. Those are habits that we can do. Right? I want to be slightly creative, and you know what? I'll let you try first. Think about filling in this statement. Before I get to somewhere or do something, I will first do something. I'm going to have you think for 15, 20 seconds on your own. And then I'll have you try and talk to your neighbors and kind of say, here's what I came up with. But again, remember Diana and Jeremy talked about like what are habits you probably should be doing, like praying or reading your Bible, or what were some other things we said? Worshiping, like praise and worship. Right? Think about that. You have those 3 options: praying, read your Bible, doing some praise and worship. You fill in the blanks now. Think about it. 10 more seconds to think about it. Before I do something, first I will do something else. I'm going to give you some helpers in case you can't think of one specifically. Oh, hey Steph, sorry. Can I have you move over and join Mackenzie and Josh's group for this? Just because you're all on your own, and we were just reading scripture about how it's hard to be on your own or by yourself. No. No, you may not, brother. No. This is for you. Well, it is also partly for Jordan, but it's mostly for you that we're doing it. No. All right. Here you go. Turn and talk. What did you come up with? Before I do something, I will do something else. After I do something, I will do something else. 3, 2, 1, go. What'd you do? Turn it on. With your oh my gosh, Bradley. Oh, hard to get today. What'd you come up with? Before I do something, I'll do something else. After I do something, I'll do something else. Your ideas, I'll give you 30 seconds. Share your ideas. I know this might be slightly weird and uncomfortable. I promise you're doing great. I'm not going to judge you.
Do you need this back here?
So what? Yes, I love it back. I promise I'll get it back to the end. Oh, love it. Oh, it's cute. You can make a heart out of it. Right, here's my cord of 3 strands, not easily broken. Alright. I am not going to have you share out specifically at this very moment, but I am curious to know, raise your hand if you said something about before you go to school, if you pick something. Okay, raise your hand if you said before you go to bed. Okay, raise your hand if you had something along the lines of after I wake up. Raise your hand if you did something that was like, before I use the bathroom, or after I use the bathroom, or while I'm using the bathroom.
What do you do?
Raise your hand if you said something about like the shower, before I go to the shower, or after I do a shower.
Yes.
No one thought of that? Okay, some people did, some people did. Some people are like, this is weird. It's okay, it's okay. We're thinking about building habits, and building habits could be weird. So I wanted to give you some ideas about how to go about approaching building new habits, because I feel like sometimes we feel like it's hard to carve out time in our lives. Oh, this is another quote. I promise I'll come right back to it. Sorry, for some reason. Okay, so last week Jeremy asked about increasing prayer, worship, and Bible reading. So what are some easy ways to do this? We call this habit stacking. Again, like we're stacking Legos. It could be while you're in the shower. I know it might sound weird to you, but in middle school and high school, Mr. Yerk, that's what I call myself at school when I talk in third person. Taylor used to like sing in the shower. Like, wow, Taylor, yes. Had the best like resonance and reverberation in the room in the whole house. Like, sang in the shower. On the drive to school. If you're like on your phone, could you also be on your phone like reading scripture? I don't know. When you're working out or during your downtime, could you like be listening to praise and worship stuff? Like these are just easy access kind of things. Or when you're on your phone. Maybe like every time you're on your phone, you set the background to like a verse. So that whenever you turn on the phone, you have to read that verse. Those are easy ways that you could kind of go about increasing these things. Not ahead if you're like, okay, that sounds like something I could try and do. All right? I'm not going to tell you what to do because that feels like school. I'm going to ask you to try something this week. So I had one more just really quick, just kind of quote that I heard that was really good. It's, be careful of your thoughts become your words. Be careful of your words become your actions. Be careful of your actions become your habits. Be careful of your habits, they become your character, and be careful of your character because it determines your destiny. All right? You choose today, and this is kind of big thinking, but you choose today what kind of spouse you'll be like someday to someone else. You choose today how your kids will grow up if you decide to have kids. Is that kind of weird to think about? Like your thoughts now, and you even think about this scientifically, and this is, never mind, I'm not going to go there. But the point is that whatever you invest in yourself and your relationships now determine what's going to happen in the future. Right? You get to choose. It's totally up to you. I think I've got one more thought before I land the plane on this one. Oh, we tried this, and I'm sorry again that I packed my jumble blocks, otherwise I would have had you do this on Sharpies as well. But I want you to think, and I'm about to hand this off to Jeremy to close this out, but I want you to think of what are things that you can be doing to build those spiritual habits. This is what Atomic means, right? If I think about you, all right, I'm going to nerd out on you for about 30 seconds. If I think about you, right, and your wonderfully complex organization, right, did you know that you're made of cells?
Yes.
Okay, thank goodness that you knew that you're made of cells. That means that your life science teacher has done something right along the way. Did you know that those cells are made of organelles?
Yeah.
All right, cells are made of organelles. You've seen that video. You know where I'm going. If you go smaller than organelles, you get molecules, right? You guys know that so far? Like the atoms are bonded together. And then when you go smaller than molecules, you get atoms, right? Oh, my heart is so happy to be both a science teacher and a leader. It's so fun. But in order to get a cell, in order to get you, we have to have all the atoms that make you up, that make up you. Not the best grammar. Sorry about that one. But you have to build those along the way. All right? You kind of see where we're getting at for today? In the building of things and relationships and building and things like that. So again, I'm not going to make you, but there's 2 challenges I have for you this week. And this is not like homework or whatever like that. Actually 3 if you want to count the reading of the devotional every day. So one of them, if you haven't get plugged into the devotional, I found some benefit from it. You might as well. Second, think of one new spiritual kind of block building thing that you could do. Go ahead, gravity works. You can pick one spiritual habit to build. And then last, I want you to think of that one person that you might want to try and invest some energy, some time, communication, and work into, and build that relationship. Sound good? All right, let me pray to close this out, and then I'll hand it right off. Lord, thank you for this morning. I thank you for just the abilities and the skills that you've given each and every one of us, and the time that you've given us, Lord. And I just pray that we'd use opportunities this week to be communicating, to be working with other people, to be investing in those relationships that you have for us. And God, I just pray that we'd have our antennas up, that we'd be listening for and aware of where you'd want us to start building relationships, Lord. I just pray for just the challenges that we've been presented with, Lord, building new skills and habits and getting dug into your word, Lord. I just pray for this week. Pray for everyone who's not here and that they would be blessed and their families would be blessed and that we'd all be healthy and well. And again, I thank you for this opportunity, Lord. I just pray that your word went forth and that would not return void. And again, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to all be together in fellowship. I just pray for every single family and household that's here presented. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Good job, Theo. So just a couple things. I don't know if you guys know, but the teenage suicide rate is higher than it's really ever been. Okay? And a lot of that has to do with people feeling alone. Right? In a world where we're more connected than we've ever been, where people who have millions and whatever followers and people watching them all the time, these people feel alone and isolated. So what you call a friend, you really have to reclassify, okay? And what you call a relationship, you really have to reclassify, because people who have all these followings and everything are the people who are feeling most alone and doing some of the craziest things there are, right? For you guys have the best friend there is, and that's Christ, and you're never alone. And that's what I want you to remember, is you're never alone, okay? Even in the darkest pit that you're in. Think about David in the lions, or Daniel in the lion's den. I'm sorry, they both started, right? He's there with lions and everything in a dark, deep, dark place, but God protected him. You know, you think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego going into the fiery furnace, but God was with them. We face lots of trials, but please remember God is with you, all right? And that us leaders here are with you, because people are making terrible decisions. With that, right, Taylor talked about the devotional, all right? It's on the YouVersion Bible. If you go to YouVersion Bible and you go to plans and you search Atomic, it'll come right up. I would encourage you to do it. We've got a group of us who are doing it together. We get to see each other's responses and stuff and see different insight. And you get to learn about people's perspectives and ideas and stuff, which is pretty cool. If you want to know how to get plugged into that, see me. With that being said, all right, spiritual habits, the things we talked about, right? Taylor talked about. I would think about this, all right? Think about your phone, right? What if you said a prayer every time you picked your phone up? How much would you pray in a day? If every time, because you know you can go on your phone and figure, it tells you how many pickups you have in a day. Do you know that? You can go into your settings and you can figure out how many pickups you have. Check it out. You'll surprise yourself. Right? How many people had the invisible vibrate before, right? You're walking in and you're like, oh, it's my phone. And there's nothing on it. But you just, that's like a scientific thing now. It's like, it's really, it's there. Okay? But just figure out a way to your spiritual habits. Mine is, all right, I've made it a habit to, before my feet hit the ground in the morning, to thank God for the day He's going to give me. Right? So it's the first thing I do in the morning is at least think about God. Right? I'm not saying that has to be yours. But you want a challenge? Every time you pick this thing up, say a prayer for somebody. You'll be doing a whole lot of praying, I guarantee it. Okay? So just thank you for being here. Thank you for, taking this stuff and applying it. I'm telling you, you are not wasting. The world says you can be sleeping on a Sunday morning. I'm telling you what you get here on a Sunday morning will sustain you forever. Okay? So if you are interested in Easter, see Diane Taylor. The scripts are back there. We've got plenty of them. I don't know if but at least people can start to get familiar with it a little bit. And we will see you guys next week. All right? Have a great week. Stay in here until they dismiss out there. Everybody who's got tryouts in sports, good luck this week. And we'll be praying for you guys from here.